Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Roundup, where we cover Worlds 2022 Group Stage Day 7, the second half of the double round robin for Group C, and then we will sneak peek Group D for tomorrow. Down in the description, you have 3 links. Twitter, join me. I guess you could join me on Twitter, but you're going to follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord, however. And then, lastly, YouTube memberships, $3 supports me. You get a badge in the comment section. That is $3 a month. $10 a month, you get extra content, including the badge. That includes 2 videos that went out earlier today, for example. In the morning, I did an NFL, well, actually, it was early afternoon, an NFL Week 6 predictions where I predicted how the games would go tomorrow against the spread and over-under, which I'm not great at, but I do it. And then related to this, LOL Esports predictions, where I predicted who'd win these games. Today I went 5-1. This one being the obvious one I got wrong. Honestly, I thought Top would get it. I thought Top could run it back, and they didn't. But going 5-1, 5-1 yesterday, I'm probably 51-19 maybe so far. I have to kind of keep track, so don't quote me on that. I was like 41-17 or 16, so I think I'm like 51-19 now. So, Rogue and Gam Esports start us off. So Gam played a very solid day of league compared to the first 3 matches they had. They were in all 3 of them. It was close, and it was close until it wasn't. And you may look at that and say, well, isn't every game close until it isn't? Well, yeah, but laning phase, they kept themselves in these games. So Rogue won. Larson, this is the only game Rogue would win today, by the way. So keep in mind, all these people, high on hopium after week 1, 3 games is not, a good indicator for how this day, the second week's going to go. Teams actually can kind of get situated and figure out what works and what doesn't for them in the days of scrim. So Rogue wins. Larson gets his Azir. He goes 6-1-7, 30% of damage. Comp 8, 0-4 on Illusion. The Lucian Nami definitely has become a power pick. It is cracked. I think it's only lost like 1 or 2 times in the tournament. Levi on a Graves, 4-6-3, 28% of Gam's damage. He tried to carry in all 3 games, really. Really tried. And that was what we had wanted to see coming into today. And then Katie on Galio, 2-2-4. So this comp out of Gam was awful. It was Renekton, Galio, and then Callista sat with Graves jungle. So there was really not a lot of AP. Obviously, Galio being AP, but that's not enough, right? It's not enough. Rogue just outdrafted them and they just beat the crap out of them. Lucian Nami in bot lane against Callista set. I mean, in the early game, like I said, it was close for a while, and then it just kind of, after 20 minutes, 25 minutes, they lost. I mean, I remember Gam got the first 2 Drakes, and I'm like, okay, well, if they get the 3rd Drake, they have a chance here. Well, they didn't get the 3rd one, and that was pretty much it. And they had gotten them like clockwork, 6 minutes, 11 minutes. Like, they had 2 Drakes by 12 minutes. And it was like, okay, well, they can get a soul fight before 25 minutes. Maybe they have a chance. Then between, that 11 and 15 minute window is when they started losing the game, lost control, and didn't look back. Rogue, with the win, this gave them, at worst, this opportunity for a tiebreaker. And then after that, Gam had to play against Top. Very important game for Gam. And this was our most entertaining game of the day. Probably it actually is the closest game we've seen at Worlds in a very, very, very long time. I'm sure people are going to pull up clips of like ends to games, and yes, but there's a reason why you remember when those happened and who was in them and what year it was and what round it was in, because those kinds of ends are crazy. This one, the end was crazy. So Gam upsets Top. Levi leads the way on a Karthus jungle. 9-5-11, 45% of the team's damage. Style on a Callista, 7-2-5 for Gam. They dump the set, they go through Renata. Knight, Ari, 8-5-6, 35% of damage. Knight really worked hard today, and I said going into today, Knight had to step it up if Top wanted a chance, and I can say that Knight showed up. It didn't go the way they would like it to, but he showed up. Jackie Love on Illusion, 3-2-9. So this is one of the games Illusion lost. So Gam, it was just really the Levi show on Karthus. And they were stacking drakes, and they got the soul. And there was an elder fight, and Jackie Love stole it on his Lucian. So it was pretty incredible because everyone, Jackie loves an inter, this and that, and the third. But Gam wins the team fight big, taking the Drake, and it's like, oh, well, this game is over. They're taking elder, they're going to win. Jackie Love steals it. And then they try and end with it. And it's just Kiea on an Ornn trying to defend his Nexus at his Nexus turrets, trying to clear the wave. 4v1. He's able to stall out the game just enough that his teammates are able to respawn and kill the top members, as the Nexus had, I believe they said maybe 300 HP or 3 hits left, something of the sort. There was barely any life left on that Nexus, and it really comes down to Kiea saving the day on the Ornn, because if he doesn't stall that push out even half a second less, if he gets killed a half a second earlier, top win. And honestly, this changes everything. This changed everything. If top wins these 2 games, they're in tiebreakers. They end up 4-2, just like everybody else. I mean, not everybody else, but DRX and Rogue. So the Gam had 1 win. They had 1 win, and boy, did it matter. It mattered a lot. So, Gam finish the recap. They stop it, and they're able to end. Despite top respawning as the Nexus is exposed, Gam are we're not fighting you, and they're just destroying the Nexus, and they destroy it. So it's kind of I'm sure at this point, they realize we're out. Damn it, we're out. We lost, and you could see it. Jackie Love's interview that he was disappointed, and Mark supposedly is considering retirement now, and of course the emotion of now playing a big role into that. But it's you know what? It's probably sucks even more that they came that close. It's not like you just didn't have any. Literally, if I just do this differently for 2 seconds in that last exchange trying to take the Nexus, it's a totally different story in Group C. Possibly a totally different story, especially with the way Rogue played today. Rogue did not play good League of Legends by any means. So let's get into it with DRX and Rogue. So DRX pulled out the Heimerdinger bot lane with Ashe. Heimer for Barrel, Ashe for Deft. We saw DRX have this banned against them in week 1, and people were like, why is that happening? And it's because Barrel plays Heimer, and it must have been being played in scrims, so Barrel actually played it. He ended up leading the team in damage with 22% of damage, 3-0-7. Zeka on the Akali, 7-0-5. Zeka played a great game. I said yesterday, Zeka is a player that has to step it up for DRX if they want to take it to the next level. He had to show up like he did in play-ins, and he did. All the players that needed to play better today did. Levi, Knight, Zeka. Odoamne tried to play a Rumble, so Rogue got cute with draft. They paid the price. They went with Rumble, and then they went with Kalista, Nasus, bot lane. I mean, it was a shout out to LS, but it was not a good look. It was not a good spot to play the Nasus. So Rumble top, 2-6-1, 27% of damage for Odoamne. Comp on the Kalista, 2-3-1. They just, it didn't work. Simple as that, it didn't work. So it's kind of like the Senna Singe situation for Gen G. You go for the fences. They swung for the fences, completely struck out. And that's pretty much all that game is. I can't really say much more about it. It was a situation where they swung for the fences with a really crazy draft. It didn't work. And in hindsight, they probably wish they didn't do that because now they're the 2 seed, right? DRX fouled that up against Gam. Once again, Gam play a good game through the laning phase. Deft on an Ashe, so they played Heimer Ashe again. Ashe 8-2-10, 25% of damage. Kingen on an Aatrox 4-0-10. You give Kingen the best champion. You cannot give Kingen strong picks because Kingen really isn't all that good. Kiea on a Fiora 0-5-1, 25% or 26% of GAM Esports' damage, and Style on Callista 3, 3, and 4. DRX beat him up pretty good. Levi tried to play J4, and he actually carried a fight around the Drake pit at one point, and it was like, damn. I mean, the guy plays Graves and Karthus and tries to carry, but he's on a J4, and he's looking like Malrang or River on that thing, trying so hard to to try and carry on a Jarvan. So DRX were able to take that one. I mean, the Ashheimer bot lane is a real thing, and it drew a ban later on in the day. So the fact of the matter is, it's something whoever plays them in quarters is going to have to think about if they want to play it or not, or at least if you're going to ban it, or do you have an answer? Sometimes weird things like that are what teams can use to take to the next level, especially with Zeka playing the way he is. Top and Rogue. Knight on the Akali went 5-0-4, 32% of Top's damage. Jackie Love 9-1-1. By this point, Top are ruled out of contention. With DRX's win there, they have 4 wins. So, 4 wins, 3 wins. 1, 4. Yeah, they had 4 wins. Sorry. I'm spacing out a lot of games. So DRX have 4 wins. That one, Top can only get to 3. So they're out. These 2 games only matter in that Rogue and DRX, if one wins and one loses, first and second. If both lose, which what happened, there's a tiebreaker game, which is what happened. So Top, Larson on a Silas, 3, 2, and 2, 31% of damage. Malrang on a Vi, 2, 5, and 5. Not really great out of Rogue. Rogue, just a bad day altogether. Like I said, week 1 to week 2 are 2 totally different stories. We see it all the time, that, they have it at first and then they don't. And it's a matter of if they actually had it, or did the competition just didn't know what they were doing. Like, it's a classic case. We see it all the time. And Rogue luckily went 3-0 in week 1, which allowed them an opportunity to stumble a bit and get on to quarterfinals as the only Western team thus far. It's highly unlikely 100 Thieves get out, but thus far. Knight just played a great game. Jackie Love trying on his Draven, and finally shows up on the Draven. They won bot lane hard, and they would just end the game off of that. Top and DRX. So Top, once again, playing for pride so they can go home 3-3, and they were successful. Jackie Love on a Lucian, 9-0-4, 31% of damage. Tien on a Viego, 4-1-7. Deft on a Misfortune, 1-1-0, 29% of damage. And Zeka on a Nazir, 0-2-2. DRX actually had a stronger draft by a mile. They had the Maokai. They had Maokai, Graves, Azir, and then, the bot lane was sus with MF. But Top gave them 3 power picks on the top side of the Rift. They responded with Ornn, Viego, and was it Akali in mid? It might have been. The fact of the matter is, Top won both games, right? And like I said, I went 5-1 on the day. The only game I got wrong was GAM. Top came back. They didn't roll over. It wasn't like an FPX situation. You got to give them credit for that they showed up and fought and gave the best showing they could for their fans, for themselves, for their region. Obviously, the other 3 teams are probably going to be, going on to the top 8, but I'm sure that it's bittersweet. Like, you tried, though. You did not go out whimpering. You went out fighting. So we have a tiebreaker between DRX and Rogue. DRX just blew him out. Rogue bad draft. So Zeka on a Silas, 9-0-3. Zeka on a Silas or an Akali is nasty. He is nasty. He's really stepped it up in this event. Going into it, I thought, not a lot of experience. And honestly, although he was a top 3 laner for me in the LCK, he was in my top 3 all-pro team. I still had my doubts, and he has continued to play better and better as this tournament has went along. Pioshik on a Vi, 2-1 and 10. Larson on a LeBlanc, 2-2-1. Comp on an Ezreal, 0-2 and 1. Ezreal sucks. I don't know why it was picked. Ezreal is not a champion right now. They tried to match Caitlyn Lux with Ezreal Karma. It just didn't work. Vi and Lux look good together as a combo, jungle and support. I will say Kingen did look pretty sus in top lane, going down 0-3 for a little bit there. And if it wasn't for Odo being on a Gnar, maybe he could have done more with it. The LeBlanc isn't a really good pick right now either. And, Malrang on a Lee Sin, I said it before. That Lee Sin pick is not very good. Now it's 10 and 21 over his career. So it just was a bad draft all around by Rogue. They're the 2 seed. DRX are the 1 seed. Going into quarterfinals next week. Now for the sneak peek tomorrow. What did I say during my prediction video that I wanted to say here? Something about 100 Thieves. Just in general, we know what this group is, right? It's going to take... this is the most clear-cut group. We know it's Gen G and RNG, and then, it would take a miracle. Now, I will say, and this is not a good thing, RNG going into tomorrow are dealing with some COVID. Everybody is sick. So, that's unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. So, take that for what you will. If RNG do struggle tomorrow, it's going to go down as that they struggled, but I think people have to remember that they don't only have COVID, but I read reports on Twitter that it was symptomatic. So in that case, that's, it's some serious business. So, hopefully by tomorrow, I know that thing is a mess. That thing is a nasty virus. So hopefully tomorrow they're starting to get better. It is what it is. 100 Thieves in CFO. Last time they played, Oyster actually upset 100 Thieves. Shun 10-0-1 on a KSA. Closer versus Gemini. Closer has to carry. He is the best player on 100 Thieves. He has to set the tone for the day. I've said it all along throughout my videos. This game decides the rest of the day. If you do not get off on the right foot as 100 Thieves, you are going to... you're 0-3. You need to go 3-3. 2-4. 2-4. 2-4 is a dream that is not going to be realized. Gen G are not going 0-3 tomorrow, so 100 Thieves have to win that game against CFO, at the very least for their own pride, so they're not the only team that goes 0-6 and lost twice to the PCS. CFO and Gen G after that. Gen G won. Chovy 7-0-11 on an Ari, if I recall. Mission versus Chovy is what we want to watch. Mission, very good laner, can keep up with Chovy and farm, but he cannot quite impact the game as much. He's kind of like a Yaharung, but better from DFM. Very good laner, but just he needs to not only get a lead, but do something with it, whether it's on an Azir or, it's got to be an Azir, and they're going to ban the Azir, and then, Victor stinks. Victor stinks. I really am not a fan of that champion, so I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to figure out something against Chovy. After that, you got RNG and 100 Thieves. RNG won. Gala 9-0-5. I think Gala might have been on a KSA. Gala versus FBI. The bot lane of 100 Thieves has to step it up as well. 100 Thieves everywhere has to step it up. Someday is the only player that actually had a bright spot, I felt like, in his lane at all last week. So they have to figure out something. I don't know if they're going to do Senna bot. Seraphine bot lane. They might have to cheese a win here. 100 Thieves wants any chance. They're going to have to get creative and freaky. Gen G and 100 Thieves after that. Gen G won. They won. Obviously, Peanut 3-0-10 on a Trundle. Doran and Someday is what we want to watch. Someday actually won lane against Doran. So, that's not a super big accomplishment, but that is literally the bright spot for 100 Thieves in week 1. So if they can put Someday on something that he can carry on, maybe there is a distant chance that they can upset Gen G in that one, but I'm not betting on it by any means. There's not really a lot to preview here with these games because tomorrow's games are pretty lopsided. CFO and RNG, CFO won. Not CFO won. Jeez Louise. Oh my gosh, CFO did not win. RNG won. Way 5-0-13. Shun versus Gala. So once again, we have Gala on here. You got to ban the KSA against Gala. If you give it to him, you are asking for trouble. Shun showed that he could play very well against 100 Thieves. He has to step it up in his other matchups. Try and make a diffy in the bot lane. Gemini versus Way is Way favored. Zhaohu versus Mission, two different kind of mid laners. We got a roamer versus a lane control mage-esque player. And then you have top lane Breathe and Rest. Rest kind of disappointed me in week 1, not really stepping it up. So at the same time, I am not expecting much out of him in week 2. Maybe he'll surprise me, but that's that. And then lastly, we have RNG and Gen G. RNG won the first time. Gala 6-1-3. If you recall, this was the Senna Singed bot lane massacre that Gen G drafted. And with that, I'm going to hope that Gen G don't draft that again and give Ruler something he can play and carry on. Why would you have Lahen's carry when you have Ruler? I don't know. I understand that the Singed works into a Yumi, but it's the Senna Singed. Not really my thing. So hopefully Gen G come out with something different, and I think that'll be a big difference in this matchup to begin with. So that's it from LOL Esports Roundup today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Like the video, share it. Other deals, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube member, and thank you for watching.